And I think that's actually a good moment. Now that I've shown you the different metadata, the approval, the user, it may actually be a good point to log in as administrator. For those of you who are wondering, we are currently featuring right here the axle gear. So the transcoding is done via another machine. And what I have is actually 160,000 assets being hosted and managed by one of the Mac minis inside the axle gear. And the other axle gear is rendering the proxies using Telestream episode. And I'll show you that in a minute. I'm going to the admin pages right now. The first page you will see will be the user page. So it will really be like you manage a user on an FTP server. You will create a username and a password. You will choose which folder this user can access and what will be the capabilities of this user. Can he download? Can he upload? And so what we do is we have also change metadata, change the files, change the approval, and post comments and so on. Something I haven't mentioned earlier is you can also change the logo per user. And you have different capabilities. Can this user access the bins, for example? You may want to have a public user that is open to everybody, but they will not see the project areas that you have. Or can this user render high-res clip using episode? Now, if you give the possibility to everybody to start to render 1,000 high-res clips, that may not be a good idea. So you can choose what the user can do or not. Now, the catalogs, these will be the top folder being watched by AXA. As you can see, I have 4 different top folders watched. I have some of them that are local to the Mac Mini, and the one that I have been featuring with you, the shared volume right here. And that's pretty much it. You simply enter the path, you give it a name, and you set. AXA will go start to look at the files and start to render proxies. Now, if I'm going to the data field as an admin, you can have for each catalogs, you can have different fields, different schemas if you want. And as I told you, you can have different type of metadata, text area, text box, checkbox. It can be a radio button, it can be a pop-up menu, and so on. Below, you will have also a filter of embedded metadata. So you can certainly automatically import EXIF, IPTC, and XMP metadata. So why XMP is relevant is, let's say you're working with Adobe Creative Suite, you will be able to grab all the Dublin core metadata by simply getting the XMP metadata. The appearance, we are getting to the more boring part of this demo here. The appearance page, nothing fancy. You can change the title that you will see. Here, enter Super Webinar. If I decide to change it and I will enter Axel, I will save, and you will see that the title will change here the next time I will change the page. You can also change the default logo that you will have for each user or the logo that you will have on the login page. And you can, of course, upload the logo that you want. In the advanced section, as you can see the title change right here, in the advanced section, this is where you would choose the engine that will render your proxy. So we are using Episode Pro here because I'm directly accessing the actual gear server. You can use the default one. You can also render the Theora codecs, which will be for Firefox. Below, again, setting up your email settings, the sweep, which would be how often do we go and check the file system. We use FS events, but sometimes you will have SANS and NAS settings that will prevent the OS to gather the events that will happen on it, and therefore we would need to just go manually and do a sweep on it. And you can set how often you want to do it. The status will simply be what the system is currently doing, and it is worth noting that we have also a status, as I've shown you when we render the proxies, not the proxies, I'm sorry, the high-res clips. The transcode this is where you will grab all the tasks that you create on episode. And so I have two tasks right here, but if I were on the Axel Gear machine and launched episode, I would be able to create new tasks with different encoder and encoders, bit rates and size and so on. And finally, the log per user. So you will see everything that have happened recently. For example, 5:31 p.m. I posted the comment, use this clip first. And so you can retrieve all the actions per user by date and by action. So it can be when the user approved, when user download, and so on. And that's really the run through of Axor. So this is here the status panel that I mentioned earlier, where you will have the progress bar for the progress of the files that are being transcoded. You will also have the progress of the proxy being rendered. And again, we are using episode. So if you decide to have a cluster of episode pro computer in the backend, where you will have all these files, you will start to have all the files being rendered.